Overall, the project goal was a failure. Hi, I'm Tistou Bloomberg and I'm gonna make a VR game in 2 weeks and then release it on Steam. Hi and welcome to the end of my 2-week long VR game project. The 2 weeks have passed and this is the post-mortem of this project. The project started on the 1st of August and ended 2 weeks later. The project goal was to make a VR game in 2 weeks and then release it on Steam. I decided to exercise my agility and Scrum Master abilities by having 4 sprints of just 3 days each. 1 day of planning, 1 day of work, and 1 day for reviewing and retrospect. Sprint 1. The goal was play a few VR games to understand the possibilities. I'm going to design the game Spiders and Chests in the Forest and make the simplest VR game in history. I worked for 1 day and the resulting increment was...
It's okay, there we go.
Nice car!
I consider this sprint a success. Sprint 2, the goal was open boxes in VR. I worked for 1 day. The resulting increment was...
Open. Oh! Skateboard.
I consider Sprint 2 a success. Sprint 3. The goal was the first VR second-hand experience. I worked for 1 day and the resulting increment was...
Bag for $1? Absolutely.
I consider Sprint 3 a failure. As the product owner, I should have made sure that the Sprint 3 followed the project plan of being all the game mechanics being finished, so that the fourth sprint could be only polish. Sprint 4. The goal was the ultimate VR second-hand experience. I worked for 1 day and the resulting increment was...
Computer.
I consider Sprint 4 a failure. I made the full game mechanics so you could play around to get a high score, but the gameplay was not balanced. I called the increment an alpha, which I put on itch.io, where you can download it for free and donate if you want to support me and this project. Overall, the project goal was a failure. Now I will show you what's going on here, where I've gone through a sprint retrospect, how I've been working through Agile and what the tools I've been using, as well as resulting action items that I will use in the next project when making a game. Here we have some simple symbols I've made to make it easy. A heart, a good feeling. A star, something was effective. A minus, a fail. A plus in a circle, an improvement. And an action item, just a plus sign, is a positive sub-thing of something. 2 categories, tools and agile. Itch.io, I still don't know if it's good or not. So I'm just gonna save it next retrospective. Better post-its, these fall off. I've been listening to a lot of music on YouTube and Spotify, which was very effective. I've made game design sketches. I've made photos of these game design sketches and then just threw them away. This clears my mind and my desk. I've used Unity, which I love, and it is effective. I've used the asset pack AutoHand for the VR hands and a lot of the interactions. I've used Simple Items pack to get the nice item 3D models. And I've used Simple Modular Humans for the NPCs, which also included an example of AI for pathfinding. I've used TikTok for inspiration and as a break. I think it can be used in a good way. Here's a negative thing. I forgot to demo one feature in a sprint review video, and that's because I had no codex card for it. I just had a post-it. My solution is to, if I start working on it, I will make a codex card. Codex is effective, efficient, and I get a good overview and I get stats. As you can see, there are many positive things about it. I think I will make a separate video about how I've been working in Codex. If you want it, please comment down below. Let's go over to Agile. The project result didn't have a fundamental game design document. Here it is. You start, you get some money when you open boxes and sell them, and then you pay the rent. If you succeed to pay the rent, you get into the next day, and if you fail to pay the rent, you get into bankruptcy. I don't know what to do about this. Game design while grooming. This is something that occurred when I was doing backlog grooming as a product owner. I had to do game design to select which items should be placed. I also had to do code and interaction design during the sprint planning, which I think is pretty reasonable. The example here is a price slicing feature where when you hit the item to change the dollar sign. I had to design this while I did the sprint planning because I didn't have an idea of how to do it, and I didn't feel like putting it in the sprint for some reason. I stuck to the agile structure till the end. This was a huge success. I'm very proud of it. I love to be the product owner and the game director. I do not know yet if this is a good, because I don't know yet if the game is good or if the project was a success. But I don't have any choice, so I'm just going to keep doing it. I didn't succeed with my planned project goal. There are some questions. If you have any ideas, please comment or contact me. How do you prevent the last sprints to be crunch time sprints? Because when you plan one sprint, you can kind of make sure that you finish the deadline in time. You can see how the tasks become less and less and less, and you can kind of get an idea. And it's based on the story points, which is how much you are able to fit in a sprint. But the big perspective where you have 1, 2, 3, 4 sprints or more, like you want to finish a bigger goal, how do you make sure that you don't slack on the beginning sprints and create a sprint crunch time? So some ideas to solve this is I will take story points more seriously, which means that as a product owner, I will use the sprint points to story points to make a sprint in the end that actually prioritizes the most important. I will keep crunch time and benchmark sprint, but I will only do it the last sprint, because then it will not flow over to the next planning phase and I can take a chill period after that. I also had an imprecise goal, especially for the last sprint, which I said the ultimate second-hand VR experience, which is kind of hard to see tangibly. What does it include? What features doesn't it include? So while I was working, it was hard to see what is the goal of the sprint really. So one action item is to base the sprint goal on the actual features and user stories that I've put into the sprint. So it's the goal becomes tangible. So while I do my workday, I can easily feel like, yeah, this makes me closer to the goal. This is more of a waste of time to reach the actual increment and the sprint goal. I also will, as a product owner, take a step back when I do the grooming and not just focus on one sprint. I will focus on the whole project, which this was 4 sprints, to make sure that I reach a good quality product in the end, and think about these things already in the start. One thing I didn't write down is I actually made an increment for each sprint, which is successful, and I will keep doing. That's the retrospective. If you want to join me on the next phase of getting this second-hand action shop management VR experience on Steam, please